Everything you've been taught about your health, how to take care of yourself, exercise, diet, is working against you. This advice that you're about to hear, it comes from the single most popular episode that the Mel Robbins podcast has ever released in the last 3 years that we have been doing this show. And it's also from the number one most shared episode of every single episode on the planet on Apple in 2025. That's how inspiring and how empowering this advice is.
It started from when I was teaching at Stanford and wanted to wake some of the undergrads up after lunch, and afternoon sleepies come in, and I was teaching about sex differences in training or high performance. So I would start it with women are not small men. And people are like, well, of course not. Like women aren't small men. But what I mean by that is everything from what happens in utero until we die is different for women than men. So when we talk about women are not small men and we see all the guidelines that are out there for exercise, all the guidelines out there for mental health, for the connections, the sociocultural pressures, we experience things differently as women than men do, but that's not ever really explained. So when we say women are not small men, it makes people take that pause and ask, well, what do you mean by that? What topic? So today, what I mean by women are not small men is we're going to dive into exercise, especially how what we do should change as we move through our lives.
What does that motto, women are not small men, mean in practice?
I think when we look right now at what's being portrayed in social media, fitness trends, the medical trends, all of that data is really drawn from men and just generalized to women, which is a huge disservice. So I want women, especially you as a listener on this podcast, to take a pause whenever you see a new trend come up or someone pushing something, to just go, well, where did this originate? How does that appropriate for me as a woman in my phase of life? And when you take that pause, you begin to have an objection to some of the things that are being pushed on you and an objective view of how you should approach things to make it beneficial for you. I mean, if you look at most women who make a point to get up, do some training, go exercise, and it happens so often after 4 weeks of following the same kind of training program as their male partner has gotten leaner, fitter, better cognition, focus, all of the things that you want out of fitness. And the woman's like, how come I'm fatter and tired and I don't have any increase in my fitness like my partner does? And I see it all the time. And I'm always explaining, well, one, your partner might get up and go fasted training. Women's bodies don't respond well to fasted training.
What's fasted training? I don't even know what the heck this is. What was fasted training?
Fasted training means you're not having any food before you go do exercise. If I don't have food to counter the fuel that the muscles are needing from a contraction, I need to find a way to supply that fuel. So it goes into a little bit of a tizzy. And one of the first things that starts to get broken down is your muscle mass, because muscle is a pretty active tissue. And the hypothalamus is like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to supply the food that this muscle needs if I don't have any food coming in. So it's a very small amount of food that a woman needs first thing in the morning to then go be successful in her training. And it doesn't mean a full meal. It could be the protein coffee. It could be a couple of tablespoons of yogurt, a half a banana. It's not a lot, but it's enough to bring your blood sugar up and tell your brain, yeah, I've got this.
I cannot thank Dr. Stacy Sims enough. This episode changed my life in fundamental ways. There's so many changes that I made. And what we were just talking about, the fact that women forever were basically taught to exercise on an empty stomach to maximize calorie burn, and that works against you. I didn't know that. And so a fundamental change that I've made is that when I get up, I eat breakfast. I fuel myself. And that's with everything from, making eggs in the morning to making a smoothie to having one of these Pure Genius shots.